Okay, good morning or good afternoon. In this video, I'm going to be doing some guided reference with you about solving substitution systems of equations by substitutions when we have equations that are not both y equals. So one thing I decided to do from these reference notes is get rid of this explanation and try a different explanation. So I'm going to pause the video here just a moment as I give you the new steps to deal with this situation. Step one, you're going to solve one of the equations for either x or y. So it could either be an y equals equation or an x equal equation. Step two, sub that equation into the other. Step three, solve for the value of x or y and that new form of the equation. And then once you get x equals 2 or y equals 5, you're going to back sub that to find the other value of your x or y. So here is the first example on the reference sheet. As you can see, you have one y equals equation, but this one is not. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to box this off because I'm going to use this as my substitution. So I'm going to reference all these equations as equation 1 and equation 2, just to make things a little bit clearer. So as you can see here, I'm going to rewrite equation 1, but when I get to what y is here, I'm going to substitute it with the pink box 2x plus 8. So I'll write negative 7x plus 7 parentheses 2x plus 8 equals 14. So now I'm going to distribute and distribute, and I'm left with negative 7x plus 14x plus 56 equals 14. I have to combine these like terms here, and I get 7x plus 56 equals 14. I subtract 56 from both sides, and I'm left with 7x equals negative 56, 14 to 42. Divide each side by 7. I'm left with x equals negative 6. So that brings me to all the way up to step 4. Now that I have a value, I'm going to back sub it to find the other value, just like I used to before. And I'm going to use the equation 2 here to do that. So when I do my back sub, I'm going to get y equals 2x plus 8. So that equals 2 times negative 6 plus 8. So y equals negative 12 plus 8. Y equals negative 4. So my solution here is negative 6, negative 4. That is the first example. Let's try another. So if you look here at example 2, I'm going to do the same thing. I get one equation here that is already y equals. So it again happens to be equation 2. So I'm going to rewrite this equation, but instead of y, I'm going to write 3x minus 14. So 4x minus y, which is 3x minus 14, equals 17. So the trick with this one is there's a negative outside the parentheses. So we have to assume the 1 and distribute. Minus 3x plus 14 equals 17. Sorry about that. So I'm going to combine these like terms. I'm left with x plus 14 equals 17. And then I minus 14 on both sides. left with x equals 3. I'm going to take this x equals 3, I'm going to back sub it into my y equals equation, and I'm left with 3x minus 14. I like to write it every time so I don't get confused when I'm back subbing. So I get 3 times 3 minus 14. Y equals 9 minus 14. So y equals, that would be negative 5. So my solution here to this system would be 3, negative 5. So I hope you're following along with the notes. The last example is the trickiest of them all because we actually have to do step 1, which is solve one of the equations for x or y. So in this example, you'll see that neither equation is y equals. However, if you look here, this y is by itself. So I'm going to choose equation 2 and solve for that y. In this case, it just takes one step because I'll add 3x here and add 3x here. I'm left with y equals 3x plus 3. Remember, those are not like terms, so I cannot combine it and say 6x. So now I have my substitution y equals equation. I'm going to substitute it into equation 1 right there. So bear with me as I write this out. So I'm left with negative 5x minus 8 parentheses. This is where I substitute 3x plus 3 equals 5. So now I solve this equation, distribute, 5x minus 24x minus 24. Make sure the negative goes to both terms on the inside. To combine like terms here, boy, I'm left with negative 29x minus 24 equals 5. And then I plus 24 on both sides. Like when that works out evenly, we're left with negative 29x plus equals 29. So divide by negative 29, and x equals negative 1. Last step is to back sub that into my y equals equation. So I will back sub into y equals 3x plus 3. I'm left with 3 times negative 1 plus 3, which is negative 3 plus 3, which is 0. So my solution is negative 1, 0. If I was to graph these 2 points, or these 2 systems, or these 2 equations, they would intersect at the point negative 1, 0. So now I'm going to pause the video, take any questions that you have, and on the next page, I would like to ask you to try these two systems using the notes we just took as a guide. And number 2 is a little bit harder because you're going to have to solve for that y. So that one's worth a sticker. Good luck. Hope this video helps. Please make sure to watch this at home if you are struggling with homework or if you are preparing for a test or quiz that we will be taking next Thursday.